Hey, I'm talking today with Bella Rayne. How are you, Bella?
I'm doing great. How's it
Oh,
going?
good. So you were telling me you just turned 18, so happy birthday. And
Thank you.
how did you started popping up all over my social media and stuff. Obviously, I follow a lot of music, people, and Grateful Dead related stuff. And you started, I don't know, like last year or two, popping up a lot, playing your Les Paul. So I want to talk about how you got into this music and sort of playing and everything, but how did you get how did you start sitting in with people like Melvin Seals and these guys? How did you connect with everyone? It's a fascinating story to me.
Yeah, well, it's such a great question. I get it all the time, and I guess the story I always say is that I during COVID was super bored, just trying to find anything to do, and I ended up finding in the garage my mom's old I think it was like a Squire Strat from when she was in high school, and I didn't want to play guitar or really have any interest in that yet. So I was like, you know what? I'll look up how to change the strings on it or something, and maybe one of my friends will take it or I can get rid of it or something. And I like by that point, once I had fixed it up and stuff, was like, well, it couldn't hurt to just mess around with it and maybe like teach myself a song or two. And obviously I grew up, my parents are huge Deadheads, so I grew up always like immersed in music and around Grateful Dead, so much so that I think that I started to really like stray away from it and wanted nothing to do with it. So like at that point in my life I was super into to grunge and like alternative and stuff. And I still love all that, but I started teaching myself some like Pearl Jam songs and uh, I ended up really falling in love with it and started to post some videos on social media and got some steam from that. And then, like, as ironic as it is, got reached out to by one of the Bay Area dead bands, and they were like, "We're having this show at I think it was actually at the Hot Monk in Sebastopol, and we're playing the show. Come sit in with our band." And I was like, "No way! I don't play Grateful Dead like I had been playing
Mhm.
ska and grunge and all these things. And I went like not having any clue what I was supposed to be doing other than having heard the music growing up my whole life. So I went, and then from there it was just such a awesome kind of community thing, and everybody really made me feel loved and supported pretty much immediately. And it was kind of like a, oh, well, we're playing a show on Thursday or Friday, and then my band's playing the weekend after that. So it's just kind of getting thrown into that and playing pretty much every weekend. And that's how that started, just spiraled from there.
Um, I've been impressed watching videos of you playing, in part because I mean, sometimes, I started seeing videos of you, I guess, when you were like 16, probably. And
Hmm.
sometimes when kids play, and I don't know, you probably didn't think of yourself as a kid, but, and it's different than like being 12, but still, like, feel the need to really like put themselves all over it, especially on guitar. And you have
Totally.
really good restraint, and you seem to have really good ear and listen and pick your spots, which is so important in this kind of music. Like, did that come naturally to you, or did you have to learn that, figure it out? Because it's
I
really,
mean, I think so
it's
too.
on,
And that's, yeah.
no, I mean it's
Go
ensemble
ahead.
music, but it's also soloist based music. So it's both. You have to be able to do both.
Totally. And like balance is a huge thing to me. And I think that that's super important too. I hadn't thought about it a ton. Um, I think when I first started getting into it, and like as far as my ear goes and everything, that's actually something that people throw around a lot because I do a lot of improv stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh, like you learn really quickly or you learn different than everybody else." And I think that I would say it's like a blessing and a curse because I pretty much are. I mean, I guess I taught myself to play guitar, but I know everybody says like self-taught and stuff, but recently I talked to somebody that said learn from the greats, and I thought that that was funny because I really did watch all these amazing players and have played with so many people that have taught me so much, and I'm still learning new things every day, but like I definitely use my ear for most of what I do, but like pacing and stuff that came pretty naturally, and I think that it goes hand in hand with the like ear thing because I can hear how I think something's supposed to go and kind of try and stick to that even if I'm making it my own thing. But I've definitely heard like, oh, pace your solos out, like take it slow and really. So I worked on that for a little while, but
Mhm. So,
yeah.
do you listen to music and just like just to keep focusing on the dead for a minute, like will you listen to the songs thinking like I need to learn these chord changes just or listen to it and be like, I want to hear how Jerry Garcia builds a solo and how he starts here and goes there. Like, how analytical do you get versus just listening and letting it rip?
I mean, anybody who's heard them will say that the Grateful Dead's like a completely different beast than anything else. And I think that it's a little bit of everything for me with the Grateful Dead. Like obviously I hear the chords and stuff and there's a lot of them. But I've done a handful of gigs now actually as the like Bob Weir role, which has been really interesting coming from somebody that A didn't have a background in music theory or really Grateful Dead music at all before just doing it, and then also being mostly a lead guitarist and then switching to a very specific rhythm role. So I learned a lot about how the songs are structured and the chords are structured and how different, I mean, how different Bob Weir is and how many cool things he does. So I'm really interested in all of that. But the way that Jerry creates a solo and arcs his solos and all of the different things are so interesting to me as well. So when I'm listening to it, I feel like I can kind of pick it apart piece by piece, and depending on what I'm studying for, just listening for fun, it's ever changing.
Yeah. Um, and you've been doing more gigs as on your own as in under your name instead of guessing as much, right?
Yeah.
Um, I lost you for 1 second. Okay, I think you're back. Um, do
Uh-huh.
you what kind of music are you doing in those shows? And are you writing much of your own music now?
Yeah, so that's totally different too because starting out, I mean, I first of all like never would have imagined myself doing any of the stuff that I'm doing today, but I started out doing a lot of like special guesting, like you said, and just artist at large roles at festivals, and that was really cool because I feel like that's kind of where I started to pick up a lot of the different things that I use in my everyday playing now, and just playing with so many different bands and so many different genres helps me a lot right off the bat. But now that I have my own band and kind of am trying out this whole band leader role, it's totally different, and that's taught me a ton as well as calling changes and like just leading the band. But we play all sorts of stuff. We do a lot of Grateful Dead stuff, obviously, and like being near the bay, people love it when we play Grateful Dead and stuff. But we do Southern rock and some folky stuff. We play a couple Dylan tunes, kind of done more jammy, but I would say kind of just jam band, almost with an edge. Like we have some more alternative stuff, and I think that that's definitely my roots. And people like get that when they meet me and hear me play and stuff. But we do definitely some like Tedeschi trucks and some Dylan tunes too. So it's all over the place.
Are you a senior in high school?
Yeah, I would be a senior in high, or I would be about to graduate a senior
Right,
in high
right.
school, but I'm finished with high school and I've just been taking college classes online.
Okay. Um, do you find like how do your peers react to the music? Because um yeah, like do you when you play, do you have like people your age coming out and
Yeah, yeah. Um, so growing up, I've been online schooled my whole life, but always super, super involved in community activities and stuff like soccer and theater and volunteering and stuff. So there's already a little bit of like difference there because I didn't go to the school, so people weren't like, um, so like in where I live is super, super rural, so there's not a ton of music there to begin with.
Mhm.
Um, But when I do get to play locally, I do have a bunch of friends come and they're always excited to see like whether or not that's that kind their kind of music or whatever. Like I know everybody listens to different stuff and young people listen to all sorts of stuff, but especially when I go other places, I feel like there's like more concentrated like groups of younger people my
Mhm.
age, which is cool. It's really cool to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have kids your age, your generation, and I think one thing that's cool about the way you guys listen to music as a generation is because of the streaming stuff. There's some downsides to it, in my opinion, but there's some real upsides. Like you can hear anything in the whole history of music, basically, and you
Yeah,
don't
totally.
segregate by genre so much. Like I've been shocked. Like my kids will listen to like Hall and Oates and then Biggie and the Allman Brothers or whatever. And it's just like if they
Uh-huh.
somehow get something through these mixes and they respond to the song. And we used to be a little more clicky about the music, like that the music really identified you for who
Yeah.
you were. Um, and so I think there's a lot of music that I hear now from like when I was a kid that I didn't like because it wasn't my scene, or the kids who were in it weren't my people, that I'm like, oh,
I totally get that
this is
for
great.
sure. And yeah, I mean, I totally relate to that too. And as somebody that pretty much listens to anything from rock to blues to bluegrass to grunge to southern rock, I totally get that. And it's really cool to see that not everything has to just be one genre. Not everybody has to pick one thing.
Have you since talking about all the different genres in starting to play the music of the Grateful Dead and get into that, have you tried to go back and listen to the stuff that those guys listen to, whether it's I don't know, Bill Monroe or John Coltrane? I mean, obviously they all had their own different interests, but as a group and as individuals, they had a pretty wide range of what you could,
Yeah.
wide call roots music.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's an awesome question because I don't think a lot of people think about like what bands influence other bands and like you got to think, especially in that time period, there's so much going on for music history. That's really like a hot time period. And it's funny that you mentioned John Coltrane because just recently I went through like a whole phase of listening to John Coltrane for a little while, but I also was uh doing like a deep dive of who Garcia's favorite guitarists were and stuff. And I think that is really interesting to check that out with any band that you like and see how it affects their music and how that all trickles down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, Bob Weir told me one time in an interview that his weird rhythm style really came because he was trying to duplicate McCoy Tyner's right hand with John Coltrane, piano player, basically.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
listen to Coltrane next time and just focus on the piano's right hand, and
I definitely will.
you can sort of start to imagine. So how did you started with this your mom's old Squire Strat? How did you get from there to playing a Les Paul?
I mean, we had that Strat, which I didn't even know that we had until then, and then we had like a household family acoustic guitar and stuff, but that was it. And then I was super, super, I'm like trying to remember, I was super, super into the grunge thing. And I think the first guitar I ever bought myself, which is like a wild, slightly embarrassing but not at the same time story. I bought myself like a 75 Univox High Flyer, just like the one that Kurt Cobain played. And I just like loved the look of it. I loved the pickups. I don't know what it was about it. I know that he bought his for like $80. I probably pay way too much for it nowadays, but that was the first guitar I ever bought myself. And then I was just asking for anything guitar stuff for Christmas and stuff, but like to backtrack, when I had the Strat, I did not know what I was doing at all. I just jumped into playing, which was really cool, but at the same time, I remember my dad bringing me to the guitar store and saying like pick out whatever pedal you want, and I was like okay, cool. I had no idea what any of them did, so I got a compressor or something, and I was like, yeah, sure, this works. And I brought it home and I plugged it into the acoustic guitar amp that we had, and I would wait for the battery to die on the compressor, and it like turned it into a distortion pedal,
Uh,
which so that's like as random as it was. But I mean, I started asking for guitar gear for Christmas once I started getting more and more into it, and then a while later ended up getting my first Les Paul, which was just a Bourbon Burst standard Les Paul, and I loved it so much. It was my baby. Um, and and that was I think what I was playing for a lot of my shows for a long time, and then the demise of my Bourbon Burst Les Paul was that it got stolen from a
oh
show I
no.
was playing in San Francisco probably last September. Um, and I was literally heartbroken. I don't know what happened. It was just a freak accident, and well, like obviously I was there with a band and we were all up all night making posts about it, and that is where the Grateful Guitars Foundation comes in, and that's the story of my gold top that I have today is that I had been working with the Grateful Guitars Foundation. They're a great organization that helps keep obviously the music of the Grateful Dead alive through um obviously Jerry Garcia's guitars and having those played and
Yeah,
not just kept pent up in a museum or whatever. So those are played, and I've had the opportunity to play Gator and stuff, which has been huge. And then they also help keep funding for arts programs in schools, and they have like a school outreach program that me and a couple of my buddies are super involved in. We go all over the place and do like a big presentation for the kids. We played with the kids, and I love that because I mean I work with kids at my day job, and I just think that inspiring anybody, but especially young girls, is definitely a part of my mission. But I woke up the day after my Les Paul was stolen to an email from the Grateful Guitars Foundation, and it was basically saying like there's a gold top waiting for you
oh,
in the city that you're in. And I was like immediately called and I was like, no, I can't accept that. Like I want to be able to represent you guys without reward, and like I didn't earn this. All these people that get these guitars earned it, and like I can't accept it. Like take it back. And he was like, somebody else is gonna go pick it up if you don't pick it up. And I was like driving there, and I was like, picked it up that day, and it has been, I mean, my baby again ever since, and I really can feel the spirit of my old guitar through it, but I love it
that's great.
with all of my heart. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's super
So
cool.
shout out to the
Then
Grateful Guitars people.
yeah,
They do great stuff and getting guitars. You
totally.
did earn it because you're out there, you're educating and inspiring other kids and young girls, I'm sure, see you and love you, and that's awesome. And also, I'll just take a second to say people who steal instruments from
Yeah.
bands off a bandstand are like the lowest form of life. And anyone, if you're listening to this and you ever come across one of those guitars, return it. Call, there's always information out there. If somebody offered you a
Totally.
Les Paul for $200, it fell off a bandstand somewhere. It's not legit.
Yeah.
Buy it and get it back to the person because
Oh,
karma is a real thing. Somebody out there um, bought that guitar from the person who sold it from you, almost for sure, and it's not cool.
yeah.
It's a terrible thing, and I've been doing this for a long time, and there's just so many of my friends and just musicians I know of or heard that it can be debilitating, and there's so many, it happens way too often. Sometimes,
Totally.
and never,
Yeah,
so, um, but I'm glad that yours had a happy ending. And I know that when you put that out there, you weren't trying to get a free guitar,
definitely
you
did.
were hoping to find your guitar. So I assume it never has showed up.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's terrible.
No, and it's I mean obviously I've never lost hope and the story definitely does have a happy ending, but it's such a personal thing. It's like stealing somebody's way to create art and it's like nothing it's really priceless. Like somebody's instrument is priceless regardless of the physical value. But it did have a happy ending, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Warren Haynes had this red Strat that he just loved, stolen probably in the early 90s. And it's
Oh
been 30 years.
no.
And I know, and it's a very unusual guitar. So somebody, because it has a red headstock, it was a
Mhm.
not a common guitar. Somebody has that and knows that it's
Total.
and
Yeah.
no good. Karma's coming for you. Um, so what's next for you? Are you hoping to do some recording, doing original music? Are you going to be going more national? Like, just give me a little bit. Do you have a plan? Are you just riding with enjoying what you're doing, or
Totally. And I know a little while ago you asked about original music and stuff. So the next moves for me are pretty much just taking a little bit of downtime this month to just work on some development and stuff, working on writing some originals. Actually just started singing, which is something I thought I'd never say. So I sang for the first couple times on my last couple shows. Nothing major yet, but getting into it
yeah,
and just kind of finding my way with the writing and original music thing, um, going places that inspire me and really just taking everything in and loving what I'm doing right now. But the just working on that before festival season riles up, and then we've got a bunch of shows lined up all over the country, which I'm super excited about. So going a little more out there, and yeah, just everybody stay tuned for everything.
you mentioned that your parents were deadheads. How have they responded to this whole thing? And they must have been kind of amused at first when you started doing that. Are they enjoying this whole thing?
Oh yeah, my parents are my number one supporters for sure, and I feel so lucky to have parents that could could support this so well and really have a love for it themselves. And I think that that just kind of came full circle for everybody and feels like something that we're all kind of meant to be doing. And they really do. They love it. They're at every show. They really love the music just as much as me. So it's a good team.
It was great. Well, it was really nice to meet you. Congratulations on your success and good luck with whatever's to
Thank
come.
you.
And you're spreading the joy of music to, new generation, which is great. Not that they lose music, but I mean this type of music of instrumental based improvisation
Hmm.
music, which is cool.
Absolutely. And that's something so important to me. So to be able to inspire anybody, especially little kids and stuff is just a huge part of my dream and journey. And it's like as cliche as it is, really dreams do come true. Like I never would have expected I'd be doing any of this. So just follow your heart and stuff is all I can say. But thank you for having me. It's been great to meet you too.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you soon on the road. Stick around for